Today we want to discuss that number 7 in our Thanksgiving, flying over mountains. And in the text we read to you, verse 31 tells you what to do if you want to fly over your mountain. And it says that all you have to do is wait on the Lord. Now, when we talk about waiting on the Lord, many people assume that that means we should go to the presence of the Lord, lock the door, and bombard God with requests. Write down 100 requests, take it into a room with you, and just keep on bombarding God with requests. But that's not exactly what waiting on the Lord means. The one who waits is called a waiter. And if you have had the opportunity of dining in a very good hotel, you find that there are people there that are called waiters. And the job of the waiters basically are as follows. Number 1, they seat the guest. They take you to where you are going to sit down. And then number 2, if it's a good hotel, first-class hotel, the next thing they bring you is water to drink. Or if you want something else to drink, they make that available. Even as they are presenting you with the menu for you to select what you want to eat. Then they provide you with food. And they stand by to receive your instructions in case you want something else, in case what you ordered is not exactly what you really want to eat, you want to change your mind. They wait on you. They stand by you until you are fully satisfied. That's the work of a waiter. Now, this passage says your duty is to wait on God. God is to be the guest. And you are to be the waiter. And what do you do to cause God to sit down, to lead him to his seat? Psalm 132 from verse 7 to 8, Psalm 132 from verse 7 to 8 says, you worship him, and then you invite him to his seat. When you worship him, then you can then say, arise, O Lord, and come to your resting place. You start by worshiping him. And then you give him water to drink. Giving water to the Almighty God to drink is so important because if you read John chapter 19, verse 28, John 19, verse 28, you discover that when Jesus Christ hung on the cross, he didn't complain about the stripes that he had been beaten with. He didn't complain about the nails in his hands, the nails in his feet. He didn't complain about the crown of thorns the only thing he shouted about is water. I thirst. Number 3, you are now to present God with the food of his choice. And according to John chapter 4, verses 23 and 24, John 4, 23 and 24, the Bible tells us that if you want the Almighty God to be fully satisfied with your food, you must worship him in spirit and in truth, because that's what he's seeking for. Throughout the period is with you while you are the waiter, you must treat him with honor, because that's how you treat your guests in a good hotel, with honor. And God said in Psalm 50 verse 23, Psalm 50 verse 23, how do you do that? He said, you offer him praise. He said, whosoever offered praise glorifies me. You want to treat me with honor? Praise me. And then make sure he is fully satisfied. You have to stand by to make sure he's fully satisfied. That's why we call it waiting. I do make sure he's fully satisfied, that he's pleased. Revelation chapter 4 from verse 8 to 11. Revelation 4 from verse 8 to 11 tells you, it is done. You fall down, you worship him, you tell him you are worthy to be praised because you made all things for your pleasure. So you worship him, lead him to his seat, offer him water to drink, offer him food of his choice, and treat him with honor. Make sure he's fully satisfied. You want an example? Oh, Genesis chapter 18, from verse 1 to 14. Let's take the example of Father Abraham, the father of faith. He was sitting in front of his tent. He saw God and 2 other angels passing by. He ran to meet them. He said, please come. Come and sit down in my tent. 2, let me bring some water. 3, let me bring some food. 4, while they were eating, he stood by them, waiting for further instructions. That's the meaning of waiting on the Lord. You want to fly with wings as eagles? You want to fly over your mountains? Wait on the Lord. And everything about waiting on the Lord has to do with praising him, worshiping him. Praising him, worshiping him, adoring him. Not bombarding him with requests. He's not the waiter. You are the waiter. And there's, as businessmen, they will tell you, the customer is always right. He's the guest of honor. Now, the interesting thing now is, when a waiter has satisfied a customer, the customer will not leave without giving a tip. And you know what? The greater the guest, the bigger the tip. The tip that I will give, that I will consider sufficient for my waiter, will be absolutely absurd if it is a president that is about to give the gift. And now we are talking about a tip from the Most High God. A tip from the one who says, silver is mine, gold is mine. A tip from the one who says, the earth is mine and the fullness thereof. A tip from the one who said, the cattle upon 1,000 hills are mine. When he gives you a tip, after you have waited on him correctly, then you can fly over several mountains. Number one, you can fly over the mountain of failure. Luke chapter 5, from verse 1 to 11. Luke 5, 1 to 11. Peter was a failure. He has fished all night, caught nothing. Then God borrowed his boat, sat down in his boat, was fed in his boat. You say, no, they didn't give him food. You don't understand. Jesus Christ said later on, my food is to do the will of the one who has sent me. He sat down in the boat and preached. Yet, it's kind of food in the boat. And while he was preaching, Peter stood by. He was a good waiter. At the end, Jesus Christ said, all right, boy, you've done a good job. Now let's give you a tip. You know the rest of the story. He cast his net once and caught so much fish that his boat and the boat of the neighbors were so full of fish, they were beginning to sink. You want to fly over failure? Make God happy. You want to fly over the mountain of poverty? Wait on the Lord. Make him happy.